This is the BGG Climbers list for the week ending 11/25/2020. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Again, this is the Geek List done by Michael Alexander. I'll have a link in the description to subscribe to the list if you want to take a look at it yourself. If you like this video, please take a look at that, and please also subscribe to this channel and like the video. So let's take a look at the list. We'll start off with the games that have fallen. So these are notable fallers: Above and Below, Azul, Near and Far. I think they're just showing their age. Azul, I think, is a casualty of the fast rise of Gloomhaven as well. Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Brass Lancashire fell, and Concordia. So you can see it's just knocking everything down a notch as it climbs its way up. Let's go through these. There's some stuff we talked about before. I think this is an interesting one. So I have played this game. I think it's very good. I have only played it once so far, but I do expect after playing that we're going to see this climb up higher on the list. I don't think it's going to surpass Castles of Burgundy. I don't think it's as accessible. I do think it looks really good, and I think people will enjoy the game. So let's see how this does. Doing pretty good. So Bonfire, we'll see as it moves up. And there's Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. It's at 17. So you can see it knocked a couple down. It's continuing its climb, although it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Probably after Thanksgiving and Christmas, we'll see it move up. And let's get into the top 10. So this is Micro Macro Crime City. So this is a really interesting game, and I haven't played it. I think it's still only available overseas. It looks to me like it's a Where's Waldo with some sort of like crime story. Like you can see here, people looking at the map, trying to find stuff. There's a magnifying glass in the box. I think it looks really interesting. I think it's a unique game. I think it's a game that you could play with your kids. I just see this one, and it looks cool. Like it's all black and white. It's got a nice looking look to it. I just foresee this one continuing to do well, and maybe because of its uniqueness, it's going to move up pretty high. We'll have to see. I really want to. Hopefully, I mean, it's published by Pegasus Spiel, so it should be available in the United States eventually. I'm really hoping to get a chance to play this one with my family. So that is number 10, Micro Macro, Crime City. Number 9 is Title Blade. So this is actually interesting. The reviews for this game were kind of mixed. I have my copy. I haven't played it yet. I was hoping to get to the table soon, but it looks like with COVID cases increasing in the United States instead of decreasing, that's probably not going to be likely anytime soon. So we're just going to be stuck with an unboxing. But the more recent reviews, as people have gotten their copies, have been doing pretty well. So we'll have to see. This one may be gaining some steam. I'm not going to go into it because we've looked at this a couple times. So Whistle Mountain. So this is the latest game from Scott Caputo. He's done a couple games that I liked. Actually, I think his last one was Sorcerer City, and I thought it was a really good real-time tile placement that played up to 5 players. So Whistle Mountain is this new worker placement game, and it hasn't been on this list yet, but it's kind of been on my radar. It's got this let's see here. It's got a really cool look to it. Like, got nice pieces. I don't know if this is a deluxe version or just the regular version. It's got these cool gear tiles. It's got these little balloons or airships, and these bigger airships. And I think, and I even the little hot air balloons. And I think it just has a nice look to it. Its complexity is, medium heavy, which is I think a good place to be to move up 3.0. And actually, the other designer, I forgot about this, it did Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which was a really good game as well. So you've taken 2 designers here that have done some pretty good games, put them together, and made a game that I think is going to do pretty well. It's retail is a little high, but I guess when you have components like this, you gotta price it appropriately. So let's take a quick look at these ratings to see what people are putting in here. So yeah, this is a pretty good set of ratings actually for a start. At most, you have some tens, nines, eights, and you don't have too many low ratings. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this does. I'm hoping to get a chance to play it at some point, but we'll have to see. So that is number 8, Whistle Mountain. Number 7, Targa Regni. Now this is interesting because it's moving up, pretty steadily at an 8.6 average rating for new ratings. So it's maintaining its average as it's up to about 300 ratings. This is the latest game from Vladimir Suki. And interestingly, I played my favorite game of his, which is Pulsar 2849 recently. And it reminded me how good that game is and how much I like it, even though it is not super straightforward to teach people. I don't feel like people understand all the methods to scoring when you teach it. So this one's got, I think, an okay look to it. And I'm not a huge fan of the artwork on the board, but it looks like it has a lot of systems and is probably another point salad area control game. Here's the better look at the whole board. So it's got all these different areas. Now, I think after playing Bonfire, not playing this game, I have a feeling that Bonfire would kind of fill the point salad-ish game for me of this year. But we'll have to see how this does. This is a little bit heavier, I think, than Bonfire. And I know there are a lot of Suki fans. I actually have a couple games of his right behind me. So we'll have to see. I think this one's got a shot to keep moving up, but we need to get more ratings. That's number 7, Targa Regni. Hopefully I got that right. Number 6, the Red Cathedral. So I finally got a chance to play this game. I fully expect this to move up a lot. It's a really solid game, in my opinion. There's some reviews out there for it. Not only is it a solid game, but it's also inexpensive. And that's going to really give this a opportunity to move up. So if you're not familiar with this, it's a game where you're basically moving dice around this rondel and building this cathedral. The cathedral's kind of randomly generated based on cards, so you get some diversity there. You also have upgrades. You have 2 sides of your player board, so there's a lot of replayability in this game with like a basic side and advanced side. And kind of the thing it does differently is there's 3 spots to put the dice on this wheel, and the more dice that you land on, the better your actions are, and you can upgrade your dice actions on your player board. Let's see if there's a picture of that. Yeah, so here's a picture of this rondel where you're going to move your dice around and get extra actions, or get actions depending upon what you land on, which is also randomly generated. So, a lot of this stuff is just amazing. Actually, these gems look really good for how inexpensive the game is. And here's a picture of the cathedral that you're building. You're going to claim spots and then build them, and you kind of have to decide when to claim them and when to build them to beat other people to the bonuses, because you get the bonus as soon as you claim it. But if you don't build it fast enough, then you can lose points. Let's see here. Let's see if there's any pictures of the player boards right here. So in this player board, there's these spots for upgrading dice. You have your color dice, which you can do special things with, and the white dice anyone can do special things with. That's why they cost more to upgrade, but then you have the other dice. And I think the systems in this game work really well. And I think that we're going to see I don't want to predict it too much, but I think this is going to win some awards. I don't know, I think this is probably going to be at least nominated for the Kenner Spiel, but we'll have to see. And I think that it's it's probably looking at least top 250, and maybe top 100 games, maybe on how it does. We only have 100 and some ratings. So we'll have to see. So there it is. Red Cathedral, number 6. Number 5, Viscounts the West Kingdom. So now this game is moving up. The reviews have started happening on it, and it's been getting some solid reviews. I think that maybe I underestimated some of the systems in this game. So I do know a little bit more about it. Basically, you're going to be marching your Viscount around and doing this like deck building. You're going to have this deck where you're going to got a lot of systems with moving the cards down and getting bonuses when they sometimes go off your board, getting bonuses while they're on your board, and going around collecting these cards and doing different actions to score points. And I'm still not sure if it's the right game for me. I'll probably play it at some point, but I think I did like Paladins. I thought Paladins was even better than Architects, and I'm interested to see if this game, comes to those levels. I think that based on the reviews I've seen, it might be better than Paladins. It might be less, but I will retract my earlier statement that it doesn't look as good as the other two, because I think that it's got a solid game here. It's probably maybe it's the most complicated game of the 3, and I'm interested to actually play it now. So that is Viscounts the West Kingdom, number 5, where based on these ratings, I think we're looking at top 100. Well, yeah, probably top 100 for this game at this rate. Maybe it won't quite reach it, but I think it's almost certain that this thing will eventually reach the top. So Viscounts the West Kingdom, Hallertau. So this is, I think, the latest Rosenberg game. Uwe is, yeah. So this one is his next big complicated game. I guess you want to play it with 2 or 3, maybe? Interesting. Maybe because it's so complicated. And oh yeah, it's hop growing. So this one was kind of interesting just based on a farming theme, which Uwe's done a lot of, but with some cool, good looking resources and with hop farming instead. So that's a little bit better. Although, yeah, look at these resources, all different sorts of resources. Pink fish, I guess. And so kind of a complicated resource management farming game, it looks like. We'll have to see how this one does. I mean, it's a Rosenberg game, and I think you're going to see any of his games do pretty well. I don't see this one beating a Feast for Odin for me, or probably Caverna, at least in my opinion, but I could be surprised. I thought both are amazing games. Feast for Odin is higher rated for me, but they are great work. So this one's just starting, and it's got I would say a solid start, but we'll have to see how it goes in the next few months. So that is number 4, Hallertau. Number 3, Beyond the Sun. This one got some early reviews, I think, and it looked really solid. If you're not aware of this game, I don't think it's been on this list either. It's essentially a tech track game where they've kind of broken down, and I think there's been a few games that have done this, but I don't think any game's done it quite like this, where you're going to have this tech track where you can't really get everything. You kind of have to go down and choose where you're going to land, and you're going to move around this, I think, the solar system, and cards are going to come out, and you're going to try to claim planets and build up your technology. I think that the look of the game is pretty good. I think they actually, these look like they use maybe the same size dice as in Roll for the Galaxy, and maybe some of the symbols look kind of similar. But I think the game looks pretty good. I think that a lot of people, including myself, like building tech trees and just building up technology is a fun way of doing it, or is a fun part of civilization games. I don't know if I've seen a game that does just tech trees in this way. I'll just say that. So I'm excited to try this one out and see what it's like. I expect it to do fairly well. It's like again this medium heavyweight sweet spot, I think, for BGG, and it's getting good. It's getting good ratings on the reviews. It's getting solid ratings on here. We just don't have enough really to predict where this thing's going to land. So that is Beyond the Sun. Number 2, Etherfield. So we've talked about this a few times. I am going to say one thing. It's continuing up pretty quickly. It's not really losing steam. It actually seems to be gaining steam. Maybe some of the early reviews were a little bit weaker. Maybe the anti-Kickstarter reviews were in here, weighting things down. But it's getting some really solid ratings, and I think this one is probably gonna be in the top 100. I don't see that it's not at this rate. The other thing I want to say is these images. Let's see here. Like, these figures look amazing in this game. Like, look at this. And I think that just having these amazing figures in this game, miniatures, is gonna really pull people into getting this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a second Kickstarter on this at some point, like they did with. They opened up. They did Nemesis a second time, and they opened up the Pledge Manager for Tainted Grail a second time. From what I'm seeing, this might be a better game than Tainted Grail. I still haven't played my copy of it, but they at least. I mean, Tainted Grail did really well. Maybe this is a more unique theme, and I think cooler looking minis, in my opinion. So that is number 2, Etherfields. I think we'll continue to see this rise. And number 1, Altar Quest. So I don't actually know anything about this. It's grabbed 120 ratings in the last week. And I'm assuming it's a Kickstarter game. Let's see. Yeah, Kickstarter. So this one must be getting delivered. A modern card-driven modular dungeon crawl. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. This looks like Hero Quest. Is this? Oh no, that's like a modified Hero Quest 4, but this is not Altar Quest. Let's see what we got here. Altar Quest. Card driven adventure. So each player choose a quest deck, a threat deck, minute forces. Okay, interesting. So it's using the same as some previous Kickstarters system, but maybe a more refined version of that. And it looks like it's doing pretty well. Let's look at the comments here real quick. Yeah. And that's actually something these Kickstarters need to watch out for, is really having a good rule book and probably having a solid tutorial. So it's also interesting that if they funded earlier this year, or if they close their pledge manager and they're actually delivering, it's really good for them to deliver, during a pandemic, a big miniatures game, because I've seen a lot of things get uh, delayed. Let's see. I mean, I guess the minis look okay. They're not like Awaken Realms quality, but this terrain stuff looks pretty good. We'll have to see. I'm not expecting this one's going to move up too high based on the early reviews. It looks like a bunch of people are already trying to sell off their copies, and we'll have to see how this one does. So there you have it. That's the last board game. Number 1 is Altar Quest for this week. Again, if you like this video, please like and please subscribe, and please also take a look at the Geek List on BGG in the description. Thank you, and have a good Thanksgiving.